Check out this new quick hitter from the Pure Hoops podcast as BJ Armstrong and Eric Newman talk about Giannis and his max deal to stay with the Milwaukee Bucks. 5-year, $228 million max deal. So first your reaction, and then how much does this happening now help the Bucks as a team in the season ahead?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind immediately is I want to applaud Giannis and his family for really accepting the challenge of the next chapter of his life off the court and on the court. And it's easy for young people to find a reason to walk away from responsibility. This young man, Giannis, what he said to the league, to all of the other players, his constituents in the business, his peers, and more importantly, what he said to the city of Milwaukee, the Milwaukee Bucks and that franchise is, I'm willing to accept that. I'm willing to accept the responsibility of being the best player on this team and whatever comes with that, good, bad, or indifferent. I applaud that. That to me is leadership. Now they have stabilized their leadership on the court because that group, the players, are the only group that can actually affect change. Like, we can talk about owners, you can talk about general managers and executives and coaches. The only group that can affect the game immediately are the players. Well, arguably, and I happen to believe also that he is the best player currently in the NBA. And right now he has 2 feet in the game. So now they've stabilized their leadership. Now it's important for the organization now to figure out over the next 5 years what is needed to get the outcome that we in the media, the organization, the players are placing on themselves, because clearly you don't have a 2-time MVP, a defensive player of the year, and not have the expectations of what comes with that, which is ultimately winning the last game of the season. I applaud Giannis. I think it's great. I think he has said to everyone, yeah, there are other great players in the league, but I'm the best. I'm not running to go play with anyone else. The last great player who did that, his name was Tim Duncan. And you accept that challenge. I love it. I love what he's done. I applaud it. He was already one of my favorite players. He now is my favorite player currently playing now in the NBA because of what he stands for. Like, I'm the best player. I'm going to accept this responsibility. It's not going to be easy. I'm not looking to run and take my ability somewhere else and pair up with another player. If you want to come play with me, great. But right now I'm committed here and I'm going to do this. So I applaud it.
So first things first, just getting this down. Giannis is now BJ Armstrong's favorite player in the NBA. Check. Second is, I'm glancing at the salary cap and their multi-year contract summary. So it is interesting seeing how this roster has been put together. Obviously, they bring in Holiday, who has a player option next season for $26 million and change. So Holiday is going to be there for 2 years. Chris Middleton is signed through 2024. That is a player option that year. Giannis's contract, the new one, begins next year and is a 5-year deal with an option for Giannis after the 4th. So Giannis and Middleton, of course, are going to be staples, unless, of course, they decide that this combo doesn't work after this year. But it's going to be interesting to see how this team goes about tinkering, adding ingredients as they go, and ultimately maximizing the window of success with Giannis in this deal. So, I mean, it's hard to say, you could put any more pressure on the guy than the last 2 years, as he was the regular season MVP twice and ran into two very, very hot playoff opponents twice and ultimately bowed out in the conference finals in 19 to the Raptors, in the semis last year to the Heat in the bubble. Is there any way to have more pressure on Giannis right now with this contract, or does this ease the burden of the pressure, knowing I'm here, we've made some moves, and we're going to take this next step? It's just a matter of time. What do you think?
With this contract comes the following question. You can't talk about what you want to do anymore. Now comes the hard part. You have to find a way. That's called grit, my friend. Giannis and company moving forward are going to have to find a way and overcome whatever obstacle is placed in front of them. What does that mean? That means there are going to be injuries along the way. There's going to be contract disputes along the way. There are going to be trades. There are going to be unhappy players. There may be losing of coaches or executives. In spite of all those things, Giannis, who will be leading this ship, is going to have to find a way to win the final game of the season if he's going to be a champion. That is the goal now. All of the other things, the money is set, the leader is set. We know where we're going to be for the next 60 months. Now it's time to find a way to get the job done. As I had a coach who told me this once, Eric, he said, don't tell me how rough it is in the sea. Just bring in the ship. Now, Giannis, my friend, let's move to the next phase of your career. A true superstar. Superstars find a way in spite of the odds. He doesn't have maybe a player of a Anthony Davis next to him. He doesn't have a player, maybe his number 2 player, number 3 player aren't as good as some of the other players. In spite of that, that young man now has to find a way. And that is the attitude of a star, a true star. And now let's go for it. I'm excited because he is pushing the envelope and taking on all of the things that you saw players have to do prior to him. Now players come into the NBA, they're already a star. Well, they haven't played a game yet. Giannis is earning his stripes. This wasn't given to him. He didn't come into the NBA as a McDonald's All-American. He didn't come into the NBA with the expectation that he was going to be MVP someday. He has earned that. He's worked to that. Every year he adds something new to his game. And now what we're seeing is a young man who's shouldering the responsibility of a franchise and a city. That says something about him, says something about his character. It says something about who he could become. I'm excited to see who he's going to be in the next 4 to 5 years. Remember, Eric, because I could talk about him all day for just the entire show. Remember, Eric, this young man has already won 2 MVPs, already Defensive Player of the Year. He's all NBA, and he's an unfinished product. Unfinished product. This isn't the best of Giannis right now.
We hope you enjoyed that quick hitter from the Pure Hoops podcast. Be sure to check out the full episode with BJ Armstrong and Eric Newman, dropping each and every Friday. Stay pure.